Hello and welcome to episode 21 of I'm Fine, a chat between myself, Damo, and our very own resident Bear Grylls, Mark.
What's that, the reference to the camping?
Camping in the back garden.
Oh, okay.
Come on,
I'm not going to be doing that tonight.
No.
Not with this heart.
A chat around the subjects of health, wealth, well-being, fitness, sport, conspiracy, and how to survive a stormy night camping in your garden under an oak tree. We're all work in progress, and this podcast is no exception. In short, it's a poke at our perfectly imperfect lives, and if we can make just one person feel like they're not alone in all this madness, then our work here is done. Coming up, warm up and stretch. Got some bookmarks about some kinky queens and silent radios.
Mm-hmm.
I like looking over at you.
That was a bit left field.
Work-life ballet, cottagecore,
Mm-hmm.
and getting back into traditional pursuits. In Dropping Give Me 20, we're lifting in lockdown.
Yeah.
Shit's got real. Again. Or not.
No, it has. We're sitting here on Saturday. It's going to happen.
Oh, you've done it, haven't you?
No, it's going to happen. It's this bit about looking forward. Let's start planning now. Well, if it doesn't go lockdown, I'm going to look a dick. But it's this bit around, I want a haircut. So I'm going to have to get a haircut on Monday. It's planning. If we're going to be locked down, let's be sensible about it. Yeah. I've got all the toilet roll I can eat. I've learned from the first one.
You don't want to be ill in lockdown, right?
Well,
No, nobody wants to be ill in lockdown.
So what happened today at the hospital is that they've referred me to the cardio unit. So I'll need one of three things. One is they'll go, we'll just watch it and see. And the other two are surgery. And I'm thinking, but if I can't get in lockdown to see someone,
Yeah.
a Zoom call trying to work out how my heart's operating is next to useless.
Yeah.
So they're either going to have to take a punt and go, you need to come in, or go, you're not urgent enough. We've got so much on our plate, you're going to have to wait. And suddenly lockdown puts a whole new perspective on, and it isn't just me. We've had this, about the number of cancer. We mentioned this a little while ago. And this is just going to...
It's really upsetting, isn't it?
Yeah. And especially stuff around mental health, especially that in winter time.
Well, those are the deaths that we're not talking about.
We're not
COVID.
taken into account, are they?
Yeah, and unfortunately, things like that, I imagine if someone had a positive test within 28 days, it's going to go down as that. It's not, and it's all...
Yeah.
My point is it's all been brushed under the carpet, so we're not talking about it, and it's a real big problem. People are dying because they haven't got the treatment they'd have 12 months ago.
Yeah.
And it's likely to happen again, isn't it?
I was reading something
Why would it
about
not
the
happen
Nightingale
again?
hospitals, and somebody said, what was it, 7 new hospitals we built? There aren't any staff to put in them. That's the thing.
There's beds,
There's
ventilators,
beds,
and that's
but
it.
There isn't staff, and you can't train, a nurse in a few weeks over the summer. So the capacity is there, but if you haven't got people to run them, so I think that was a vanity project.
Yeah, or you're into volunteers or dragging people out of retirement, which I think I've read somewhere.
But the people who are likely to be sheltered.
Yeah, they'd like to be a bit older as well.
Yeah.
So they're not likely to be
154 patients were seen between those 7 Nightingale hospitals.
Really?
154. 100 in Manchester, 54 in London, none in Bristol. Not one person walked in Bristol.
Wow. So how are you? I need to keep checking your watch. It's kind of you keep looking at your watch. I'm like, are we over time? And I'm thinking, oh no, you just check it. I keep forgetting. It's like, have you got to be somewhere? I try to hurry this along.
Yeah, I try not to watch.
That's okay. I want to.
It's a bit like white coat anxiety, isn't it? When you have your blood pressure taken in hospital, it goes up because you're worried about it. And if I keep looking at my watch and my heart's high,
it's likely to go higher.
So I'm looking now and it's steady. So it's 97, 98.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
So steadily high, isn't it? And
You are not so I'm
moving.
Back into SVT. So I'm fine.
Good.
We should name our podcast that.
Yeah.
How's your health anyway?
Mine?
You all good?
Yeah. I think so, thanks.
You seemed on it on Thursday.
Yeah. Kind of surprised me between sets. I just feel so
you said you're lethargic.
Still. Yeah, I don't know what it is. And then once I'm doing it, I'm all right. But
yeah, did very well.
Yeah. So I've got some bookmarks.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little one, but it's easy to listen to us and think that we're giving social media a hard time. And I think we've kind of...
Okay, yeah.
I think we've kind of said a lot of things about it. And I like to think we're seeing all sides of it. And I think we probably have said before that it has its really positive uses.
But we probably haven't expounded on those as much as the negatives.
Maybe not, yeah. I mean, it's easier to pick up on the negatives. And, even in the mainstream media, social's mentioned, but it's never... It's never given the counter, is it? In the world of impartiality, or certainly the BBC trying to be impartial, they would say something and then almost in the same sentence give you the counter. But they'll never do that when mentioning things like social. Obviously, it's brought lots of people together. It's given people new skills. It's given people a window to the world who ordinarily couldn't get it.
Yeah.
Some amazing things, isn't it? Amazing. Kind of came up at work as well. And I don't know whether we've said it on a podcast, or I listened to it somewhere else. Again, I don't really know where I pick all these things. But this whole mess that we're in is actually really pure. And I think it's going to go back to your client who talked about we're surrounded by nature. You talk about getting back to nature. We are nature.
Yeah.
So what's there to get back to if we are the thing that we're trying to connect with? So actually, this mess is what was always meant to be. You know, we're almost designed to be in this position we are globally.
Not with you.
You're not.
The mess, as in the mess the world's in.
I think we look at it like there's been artificial things, or social media's created this kind of, and we can blame.
But we created social media.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm going.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of, you can blame wars on religion, but it's not religion's fault.
No.
It's people's fault.
Yeah.
And all these
people using religion as a tool. Yeah.
For their own ends.
Yeah.
Or their own justifications.
Yeah.
You know, terrorism is always kind of linked to kind of ideologies. Yes, I understand that they drive our actions to some degree, but it's still a human doing a certain act.
Yeah.
And it couldn't be more pure, I guess. It couldn't be more natural. Does that make sense?
I don't get the pure and natural bit. You're just saying it's human instinct.
I think it's just because it's almost like, we blame things on other things, almost inanimate things or things that you can't touch and feel like religion.
Yeah.
It's a concept, isn't it? But any belief system isn't tactile.
No.
It's something we've kind of created ourselves, as I said, to either justify, we kind of get into, Marxism and stuff in terms of religion being the opium of the people and that kind of thing. But I can see how it can be really positive. It can help people. Religion, for example, can help people through emotional times.
Yeah.
It's kind of an excuse. And I think my point is social media can kind of be seen as an excuse.
Yeah.
For bad behaviour. Yeah. Maybe that's where I'm getting.
Twitter made me do it.
It's the most natural. I think we look at it and it's kind of man-made and it's kind of unnatural, but I think it's kind of the most natural thing. It's just enhancing the way we've always been as humans.
And there's a lot of things around community going back to the hunter-gatherer days. And again, I might be misquoting on this, but the book I was reading recently was sort of saying up to a certain number, and I think something like 150 communities are great. There's like a vested interest when you're a hunter-gatherer, when you've got 150 people, you look after each other, everyone's dependent on other people.
Yeah.
And then one of two things happen when you come into conflict with another 150. Sometimes coming together is too much. That 300 becomes unwieldy. So one of the 150s has to sort of, lead or fight the other one off.
Yeah.
And I think maybe our community, because you mentioned community the other day, our community now, a lot of it is virtual, not just because of COVID.
Yeah, and I think that's the wonder of what technology has done, hasn't it?
Yes.
It's brought ideas together and it's brought positivity together and it's made people who have felt alone feel less alone. But then you immediately kind of get, swung into the opposite ends of that.
Yeah.
So it has been brilliant. Yeah, community is a really interesting one.
Mm.
I said something quite random when I was looking at the raisin. You said it's all sparkly because of all the sugar.
Yeah.
I went, it looks like the roads. Don't know if you remember me saying that. Did that make sense?
Yeah, the little bits of quartz or crystal.
Yeah, because that's glass.
Is it?
In the roads,
Okay.
yeah. So Bristol is famous for lots of things, but it's very famous for blue glass. World renowned, I think.
Yeah.
When I had a demo there,
Are you protesting against it?
I don't like blue.
Glass.
I don't like blue.
More glass, yeah.
Me and my blue biros.
Yeah.
We're burning blue biros and shouting, no more blue glass. They were saying when the guy was kind of, all the stuff that fell on the floor, he then put back in the furnace to kind of reuse again. And they said, here's a common myth that you can truly recycle glass. He said, you're not, because glass is very specific, colours and different things.
Yeah.
So you can't just put green, blue, white glass all in a thing, melt it all up and then make glass out of it.
Yeah.
You can't do it because it's got a very specific makeup, I guess.
Yeah.
And that always kind of stuck with me, that because I think I asked the question, well, where does our recycled glass, doesn't it go back into making more glass? And he went, no, it can't be done. He said it all gets crushed up and put in the roads.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, because that's what the sparkly bits are in there. But so I did a little bit of research on that, and I still haven't got to the bottom of this, but there's largely...
You're believing it.
Yeah, well, I kind of did. But he was blowing glass. He was a glass expert. Why wouldn't I not believe him? And I've looked into it, and they say glass is infinitely recyclable.
Okay, but maybe not in the same form. This is the one thing, we were talking about pods the other day, and you were going, well, they're aluminium and it's recyclable. Yeah. That's good, yeah.
Well,
I was thinking that about bottles. Back in the day, in the 60s, you'd have a bottle of cider. Yeah, you're 6 or 7, you're down the park, bottle of cider. We've all
your
been
childhood.
Because couldn't afford gin.
That's normal in Bristol, right?
Yeah.
Even now.
Couldn't afford gin at 6 and 7.
Yeah.
And then you go back and they would give you, well, it was 3D, so penny halfpenny for the bottle. I was just thinking when you were talking
Why
about
don't they do that?
recycling, we used to have a bottle, you would empty the contents
take it
and
back.
it's still a bottle. And now we've got something that says you have a bottle, you empty the contents, you chuck it into a box and someone comes in a lorry and chucks that box in with other glass and smashes it up and then takes it to a factory where something happens to it. Just take the bottle back. They do in some continental countries.
And it doesn't always get made into another bottle. It gets crushed up and put in asphalt. You know, so.
But in Germany, I think you get a deposit. It's just, we've got something and we think the best way to recycle a bottle is to smash it up.
Yeah.
Surely the best way to recycle it is
give it
a little wash.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, it's like, imagine having mugs at home and washing them out and using them again.
Instead of just smashing them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who would do that?
Yeah.
It cost me a fortune in mugs and... Well, you only use your crockery once, right?
Yeah. Got paper
Do you not?
plates.
Do you use them again? And
We're giving it a go.
I got an apology. I can't remember which episode it was, talking about Henry VIII's wives.
Yeah.
And I did say that one might have got deaded from a rather kind of inappropriate act with a horse.
Yeah. I had an email that I didn't even share with you.
What? Someone sent you an email
saying
about
you're
it?
talking shit. Yeah.
You should keep that for the mailbag. I just said that. Damo's talking shit.
Well, it said
Regards.
shit again. No.
Who was this?
I'm not going to say. It's the same person that liked your marbles, so it's yin and yang, isn't it? You get both sides, light and shade.
I think I know who that is.
Yeah, you do.
I don't think I like her anymore.
If it's a woman.
But I think I know
I think that's a very popular myth.
However, I looked into this.
Okay.
King Henry VIII ruled for 36 years in England, from 1509 to 1547. We talked about the little rhyme about what happened to his wives.
Yeah.
And it is divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. Do you know which wives fall into which one of those categories?
No.
Would you like to know?
No.
Like, really?
Is it relevant to your story?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Catherine of Aragon, divorced. Anne Boleyn, executed. Jane Seymour. Is she an actor, Jane Seymour?
Lives in Bath.
Does she? Died. Must be another one. Anne of Cleves, divorced. Catherine Howard, executed. And Catherine Parr outlived Henry. But I think where this came from was Catherine II, most commonly known as Catherine the Great. She was Empress of Russia from 1762 until 1796, and she was the country's longest ruling female leader. She came to power following the coup d'etat that overthrew her husband and second cousin, Peter III. Under her reign, Russia grew larger, its culture was revitalised, and it was recognised as one of the greatest powers worldwide. So several stories about the circumstances of her death, and I think because she's called Catherine, I just thought, one of Henry's.
Must be
There is relevancy to my ramblings.
Yeah, okay.
She died at the age of 67 in 1796, and this rumour originated in the years following that death. An urban legend claims that she died as a result of her attempting sexual intercourse with a stallion. The story holds that the harness holding the horse above her broke and she was crushed. The origin of this false account of her death is unknown. However, it most likely began due to unfounded bawdy tales. That's a nice word, isn't it? Bawdy.
The person that maybe he or she pulled in your accuracy used to be a tour guide in Moscow. So I think you're on a losing wicket there.
Yeah. Something, we were talking about getting back to traditional pursuits. Pursuits was your word. I like that. We talked about the repair shop, the carpenter program called CHOP.
That's been banned.
Completely cancelled now, thanks to that guy's tattoos. There were some others, obviously, we had Bake Off. There was the Sewing Bee, which I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
That was a really good one.
Yeah, Pottery Throwdown.
Yeah, and the painting one, which I can't remember. So loads of things like that. The day we talked about it, I went on the BBC website and there was one of the headlines, what it's like to be cottagecore. So I had no idea what that meant. And I think I might have sent you the link straight away going, look at this. Cottagecore. Were you aware of this phrase?
Not until you sent it through.
So cottagecore is an online aesthetic and now a community which has pinged around social media in recent years, but has been repopularised by influencers in lockdown. It romanticises the idea of cottage life in the countryside or the woods. Core just means an intense interest in something, and Cottagecore generally includes things like flowers, books, animals, and vintage furniture and clothing. It also extends beyond an aesthetic to the activities you might do. And this is kind of what kind of tickled me, really. For me, it's about enjoying simpler things in life and finding enjoyment in going back to basics, says Paula. Everything from upcycling, reusing, gardening, and baking to mending clothes so that you can wear them for years. If my dear old Nana was listening to this, she'd be like, I've been cottagecore for all of my life there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I literally thought of my Nana. She used to do all of those. You know, it's just what she did.
Yeah.
And it's what people always did. And you kind of bring it back like it's some reinvention of the wheel.
Yeah.
I find it astonishing.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's given a name. It's core. It's got to be core now, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It can't just be,
doing nice stuff.
Yeah. She has a theory of why it's suddenly become so popular in 2020. I think with everything that's been going this year, cottagecore has suddenly been catapulted into the forefront because people crave a way of escaping the current realities of life, she says. It has been my way of living for the past decade, and it's only this year that I was labelled as a follower of cottagecore. Before that, I was just Paula doing Paula, which I really, really liked.
There is the photographs that you sent when you sent the link is a little bit Nigella Lawson, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? When you watch Nigella, you think she's only one of about 5 people in the world who live that life.
I mean, it's almost that's kind of the lens we're living through, isn't it? The Insta life. They only kind of sing when you're winning. You know, it's stuff that people have always done through centuries, but now it's staged. You know, nice floral print. Big garden. People are conscious of what they're wearing. Oh, they've got their makeup on and lovely clothes while they're doing the garden.
And if you're on the 19th floor flat in Birmingham on Universal Credit with 4 kids, cottagecore is probably not top of your list.
It's the biggest poke in the eye, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is.
This is what you could have won.
Yeah, because they're mending things and making do, not spending money they haven't got on loads of shit they don't need.
Yeah. I think there's 2 messages, isn't there? The bit that we mentioned a couple of podcasts ago about taking that interest in nature. And we also, when we talked about the Mental Health Day, you actually were saying things there about getting back to creative things and crafts and things like that. The quote I was looking for when we just started this podcast, and I was just looking at my phone for this quote, I can't find it, unfortunately, but it was something like, it was along the lines of, remember at the beginning of lockdown when we went for lovely walks and baked banana bread, and now as next one starts, we're having gin for breakfast. And that element of idealism. The cottagecore looked beautiful, and we'd all love to be able to do that. I think sometimes when things gets published that gives this idealistic and idyllic life, I think there can also be a bit of a downside in terms of, I guess, going on our little ticks. Yeah, maybe just think of doing some of these things, maybe thinking of growing some herbs on a windowsill or trying to do something that's engaging or doing something with your kids during the lockdown. But this whole thinking it as a new way of life. Yeah. You have to be so privileged.
It's properly insulting, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And it wouldn't be insulting if the pictures weren't of perfect people in perfect, 5-bedroom detached
Georgian
cottages.
Houses. Yeah, absolutely.
We could all be...
It is a bit of a piss take.
Yeah.
Final thing on this, psychology today, just around using your hands and making things.
Yeah.
Creativity, happiness, and your own 2 hands. Research has shown that creating or tending things by hand enhances mental health and makes us happy. Dr. Kelly Lambert explored the relationship between hand use, current cultural habits, and mood. She found that hands-on work satisfies our primal need to make things and can also be an antidote for our cultural malaise. Too much time on technological devices and the fact that we buy almost all of what we need rather than having to make it has deprived us of the processes that provide pleasure, meaning, and pride. Making things promotes psychological well-being. Process is important for happiness because when we make, repair, or create things, we feel vital and effective. We kind of talked about that, didn't we? About busy work, doing physical things.
Yeah. I think it's different
and
to
unnecessary.
Busy work, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's like kind of, it gives us, because we're doing stuff, it gives us that buzz that we're being effective.
Yeah. So it's like adult colouring books.
Yeah.
Or jigsaws.
Yeah.
You're not really doing anything in some ways, but you are.
Yeah.
I'll send you a photograph of the jumper I knitted. And you can put that on the Instagram.
But I'm looking at you like through BDI. Is that recently? Just because if you haven't mentioned that in the last...
1980. I used to have... I
was thinking, how did you not mention that the last few weeks?
I haven't been knitting a jumper during lockdown, no.
Slightly disappointed, but still impressed all the same.
I had a company.
What?
A jumper knitting company.
Legit?
Legit, yeah. Called Bella.
Wow.
Mohair jumpers.
You haven't told me that one.
No.
I mean, you're
I'll
not
bring
lying
in-
about your resume,
No.
are you?
It's
It
extensive.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. My sister-in-law, who was still at school,
Mm.
and it was sort of mid-punk. And one of the big punk fashions was the oversized, stretched
Yeah.
mohair.
Yeah.
And there was a shop in Bristol selling them, but they were really expensive. Like even back in the day, they were sort of 60 quid for a jumper. This is back in the 80s, and you're thinking your average punk isn't going to spend that and then ruin it. So we nicked their patterns, got in touch with a mill in Bradford and started buying in mohair and started producing them. But you can't knit mohair on knitting machines,
Right.
because that was my first
Do
thought.
it by hand.
You have to do it by hand. And because I'm not very good at talking people, trying to recruit people to knit jumpers when you don't talk very well was hard.
Oh, so your initial thing was, this can be great. Just get them a couple of machines, bang these out.
Yeah, I could do it myself in front of
The wireless.
in front of the wireless, yeah. And the tin bath. And
Yeah, you thought, hold on, we need some craft here.
we need some craft. So if you do it on a machine, it sort of flattens the weave, and the whole thing about mohair that it's meant to be, hairy. And so you've got these massive cones, these massive triangular cones. All cones are triangular. That was
Arguably.
tautology at its worst.
You're painting a picture
Yeah.
for the listener. It's perfect.
Any excuse to get tautology in, perhaps. And so, so we did this lovely mohair from this mill up in Bradford and started selling jumpers. And that was our business.
Have you still got one?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Can you wear it next recording session?
It's a bit itchy. I'll bring it. You can put it on Instagram.
Can I wear it?
It's not, well, lose 10 kilos, yeah.
If you weren't so poorly now, I don't know what to do, to be honest. What's your heart rate like? Is it back to normal? I'm
No, it just went up because I was giggling. Yeah, no. So anyway, it wasn't sort of. We're not sort of Primark. It wasn't that big a business. It was cottage. It was probably your cottage core.
Your original Cottagecore.
Yeah, we were knitting, and we had a lot of
Mohair core.
retired people sitting in their things, knitting and enjoying it. And
Sounds really nice, actually.
yeah, they were good jumpers. I haven't got any left, but
Right, just that one.
just the one that I knitted.
Just the one that I can never fit in a million years.
Mm.
You kind of stopped me
In your tracks.
just then with the mohair jumpers. You did that the other day when we were talking about going to a coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
And it was genuinely because I was surprised, because I'd see you as really confident. It wasn't do you know what I mean? I listened to it back and it sounded like I was just kind of going, what, you know what I mean? But I was genuinely surprised that,
I think I said it almost without thinking.
yeah.
Because taking a step back, one of the things that tends to happen in our conversations, and we have had good feedback about the rapport and getting on and the chemistry. But I almost think we don't actually know very much about each other. And we made the comment 20 episodes again. The first time we'd ever sat opposite each other and talked was the first episode of the podcast.
Very true.
Well, with being sober. It was back in the day when we both drank. We did sit down, but it was within a group setting, wasn't it? And
Yeah, it was never on our own.
No, and I was thinking, two things have come out. I think we agree on a lot, but there's gradations within that agreement.
Mm.
So I'll say something, and you'll go, I see your point, Mark, and then go, there's always like a but, or have you considered this?
Yeah,
or,
it's never, you're talking absolute,
and it's never also totally agree with you, let's move on. There is comments, and we do it both with each other. And I think sometimes when I chuck something out, I have that feeling like, he must know that but we only had a coffee once together in our lives, so how would you know?
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
No.
And you ordered it for me. But
I wouldn't go up to the guy came to me and I just shoved a credit card towards him. It wasn't exactly
my man.
So, which is why I love contactless. Even that has been a major
this whole thing
bonus.
is brilliant, isn't it? I mean, I don't want to do the new world and all that, the new normal. It's how it's been on the continent for years. You go in, sit down, and people come over and make you feel welcome in their establishment and go, what would you like? And they provide you with a service. We're just late to the party in this country, aren't we?
Yeah.
And this is, everyone I know who's been in that scenario has just gone, this is brilliant, it's the way it should be.
Yeah.
So I guess for that, people who don't like going up and doing that, it's the perfect storm.
Yeah, I wouldn't be madly keen on the internet. The only reason I chucked it in, it wasn't meant to be any sort of...
No, it wasn't. But I think it was...
I'm not going to say criticisms. One of the bits of feedback I've had on doing the podcasts is that there's that idea of dual persona. that this is an act, in the same way that when I'm doing PT work, there's a degree of act. I think I mentioned to you before, someone I trained came up and said, this is the most important hour of my week. And that has changed the way I train.
Yeah.
Because every time someone comes in, if it's the most important, there's no way I can be lethargic or rude or callous.
No matter
or just
how you're feeling.
No matter how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And so we went back to that bit, how are you feeling? I'm feeling great. And I will say that to clients and I will genuinely mean it. For that hour, I'm dedicating and giving them a good hour.
And you're going to put your stuff to the side.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
But the minute the garage door gets shut, then you can go back to wherever you were. And a lot of people have to do this to get through life. You have to do it, in social settings or in front of your kids and things like that.
Yeah.
Diving a little bit is the thing about coffee becomes that I'm able to put that act on here. I'm able to speak because I'm just speaking to you. There isn't anyone else here. And I think you said one of the early podcasts, you just imagine there's one person.
Yeah.
But I think it goes wider than this. And sometimes when I've shared with people and they've gone, that really surprises me, there's other things that come out. So one of the problems, or one of the challenges, I shouldn't say problems, one of the challenges I have is opening envelopes. I will leave letters unopened for days and days and days,
Right.
even if I know what's inside it,
Okay.
or even if I don't know what's inside it. And I have to open that envelope at some stage. I ran a project years and years ago, probably one of the best projects I've ever run, called the Edge Project, and working with offenders, and we would send them a letter inviting them to come in for an appointment, and they wouldn't come in for an appointment. And one day I got some money and we ran a focus group, and I rang everyone up who we were trying to contact, and I said, if you come into the office, I'll give you a tenner, but you've got to answer a few questions for me. And because most of them were drug dealers or using drugs, there's a free tenner from probation service. We got lots.
Yeah.
And we got them in a room. And I said, I want to work out why this project, which gave them an awful lot of support, it helped them with education, helped them with employment. There was subsidies, there was grants, there was clothing grants.
Right.
It was very generous. Why are you not coming in? You've been offered something on a plate.
Yeah.
And the one reply that made the biggest difference to this project was, you send your invitations out in brown envelopes.
Right.
And also, when you put the time, we don't know what that means. And I went, let's do the second one first. They said, if we do open the brown envelope, and the majority of people tore them up without ever looking.
Right. What, because they look like a bill or something?
You never get good news in a brown envelope.
True, yeah.
So why would I open something that's going to be bad news?
Yeah.
If I'm a chaotic offender, it's either going to be a summons, a warrant, a bill. So they said, we haven't even read them.
Okay.
We didn't know they were from you.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, from the people that did open it, they said, can you come to so-and-so appointment at? And they said, for some of us, we need a picture of a clock. And then we'll get it.
Can't read the time.
We just see numbers.
Right, okay.
Because it's written in probation speak. So it was typed out by a well-educated middle-class person that said, we would be happy to honour your presence. It's the language.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
So what we did, we just put a postcard in and go, big picture of a clock.
And just drew the hands in there.
Your appointment is this time. That's on next Monday.
Yeah.
See you there.
Right.
And then what we did was we used white envelopes and we put a tiny logo in the corner, which was a yellow triangle that said Edge underneath. Uh-huh. So it didn't go, you're an offender. It didn't say this is probation. And we got twice as many people coming in. And the point I was saying about that, it isn't dopamine with envelopes with me. It's just putting off something I have to do. And I've often said to you, I'm not a finisher. And so I avoid stuff. So I avoid, if I'm booking a table in a restaurant, I will probably choose one that I can do online rather than ringing up to book a table. Yeah. Even if it isn't necessarily the restaurant I choose to go to. So it's that avoidance of any type of interaction. Yeah.
With the human. Okay.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people have this. I think lockdown.
That's kind of why I wanted to
Yeah.
bring it up, really. So I think it's actually quite important.
And I guess the contrast between someone who can sit and talk the hind leg off a donkey on this and can speak to, clients every day and can do public speaking,
Yeah.
they're two different things though. One's just a form of amateur dramatic.
Yeah. I know what you mean about calling people as well, just ringing people up, I think you mentioned. And I think I totally get that.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just think is it deeper than just having not very good experiences having done that. You know, you tend to look at like, was there trauma? Was there something that happened in their life that's stopped them doing that? Do you know what I mean? Was there an embarrassing situation where they rang some, you know, or had an awkward, and I just don't want to relive that because it was all just too painful and just too awkward and difficult. But it doesn't always have to come to that. I think that's what I've kind of learned.
It can sometimes just be...
There's not a trigger event for it.
No.
It's upbringing, it's environment, it's all sorts. It just might be how you're built, and you just don't, you know.
Yeah.
We don't always like...
When we talk, I am a sociable person.
No, I didn't mean that.
But I avoid people despite being sociable.
But I guess you're the kind of person like me. Don't feel like you need to go and meet new people. I've never been like that. I'm not actually that. This is not getting the violin out. I've never had that many friends. I haven't got a big group of friends. It always felt quite normal to me that I didn't.
I think most people don't. I think most people think everyone else has got hundreds of friends, and
you haven't. But there's some people who like going out and meeting new people and making friends. And Sarah's the kind of person who will, we kind of were down in Cornwall a few months back, and she just started chatting to someone who's in the sea, bodyboarding.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. When you're going walking, and
then we kind of saw them in the car park afterwards. Just almost like they've been best mates forever. Like, I don't know. I find that really, really challenging.
Yeah.
I'm just not built like that. I'd rather, I'll go, hi, but not having a chat to I don't know. It's that's why we're all so different, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I haven't really kind of thought about why I do or I don't.
We're going to touch on this later, I think, we are definitely about the support I intend to give during lockdown to clients and, anyone who's listening here, if they want to come in on it, it's an offer. I think I have a real fear that people that might have in the past been sociable, or might have not had concerns about, ordering a coffee or walking into a pub or whatever. Those fears are then going to come because they're almost going to get out of practice at it, and it becomes easier to stay in your house and live through the TV or live through fear, and that when everything does clear, whenever that is that social aspect is going to be lost. Some people that were sociable are going to lose it. Yeah. And I think as an introvert and someone who, I said it to you the other day, I never find loneliness in solitude. Yeah. Yeah. I can go on very, very long walks, and it's just me and nature. But I think there's people who do need socialization who are suddenly going to go, I'm by myself. I'm not going down the pub. I'm not going to Skittles or football. That doesn't mean people going out and making new friends. That's just keeping the networks that they've got. Yeah. But also, even the worst thing about you just saying the word lockdown, that's just, some people hear that word and it drives the fear of God into them. Yeah, it's a strange, it's the same as social distancing. Why didn't we just say distancing? Yeah. The social bit, we're not socially distancing, we're physically distancing. Yeah, why is it social? The language is huge, isn't it? The language is almost... Lockdown is how it sounds like prison, doesn't it? Yes. Yeah, I guess they use that. Oh, yeah, totally. Especially when you think someone's escaped or there's something wrong, you have a prison lockdown and everything is... So you're into freedoms and civil liberties and all sorts of things. But you kind of mentioned fear a couple of times. Yeah. So I immediately go, what are you scared? It's a very simplistic way of looking at it, and I know it doesn't work like that. But do you have it may not be the right word, too strong a word, but what are you scared of? So in the course this week, last week's takeaway was the raisin. This one was a scenario. And the scenario was you had to visualize a road that you were familiar with. You're walking down the road and you either shout out or wave to a friend or colleague or someone you know on the other side of the road, and they don't react to you, they don't answer, they don't wave, they walk on. And then there was 4 areas where you had to put things like your thoughts, your emotions, sort of what happened next sort of thing, and another one that I can't remember. And on things like this, because it's on Zoom, I tend to be quite often the last person to speak, and people were going, in terms of emotions, was feeling a bit hurt or feeling ignored or feeling angry, and then there was other thought. That was under emotions. Under thoughts, it was maybe they're having a bad day, or thinking maybe they just didn't hear me, or a lorry went by. And one guy said something, and I said I totally agree with him. And what he basically said was, if I said hello or waved, my eyes would go straight to the pavement because I'd be praying that they wouldn't answer. Right. And so it was, I've almost got to make some sort of effort to communicate with that person. But that can't be a fear just waving to someone across the other side of the road.
Yeah, sure.
It's like I wasn't scared of someone waving back, but I said to him, that's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
It would be a relief to me if that person didn't say good morning. So everyone else is going, I'm hurt and betrayed. And I'm going, thank God for that.
Yeah.
You know,
so
another one I've escaped.
So if you saw someone coming and they hadn't clocked you,
I would actively hide. I would hide.
I would just eyes down and make sure you don't eyes cross. Because that's
be
me.
under a car. I don't mess.
You throw yourself on the ground.
Yeah, that's why I wear camouflage gear all the time.
Just stand by a tree or something.
I take my pop-up tent and jump into that.
Just take you ages to get anywhere. Yeah, but I bumping into people on the street, which I really struggle with. Struggle with, even if it's someone I've got time for.
Yeah.
One I just find it's just the small talk. Maybe is that what we're talking about here? The small talk, the awkward. I don't want the street interaction. There's a time and a place, I guess.
Yeah.
None of us were expecting to see each other. None of us really have anything to say.
I don't think.
And
I
it's
don't
kind of.
think you're right with none of us. I've got friends who would if they bumped.
Well, maybe I haven't got anything to say, but
and
you go, I don't want to. Now I don't look like a complete arsehole walking on.
Yeah, I can't just ask one question and then
it's just and just the whole rather what you want to say when they're about 10 foot away is like, I'm not stopping.
Yeah.
I'm walking right, and I've kind of found the beauty of kind of the big headphones.
Yeah.
Because that is basically it is like a bubble.
Yeah.
It is like a
I'm wearing them in supermarkets.
They're amazing,
now.
Aren't they? I mean, there's a bit like the weighted blanket. If you're feeling closed, you feel protected.
Yeah.
But it is like this magic bubble.
Yeah.
Kind of maybe it's just the inside outfit. Maybe you don't look like that, but I'm undisturbable.
I don't think people would approach me. I'm basically there with my hat on. You notice how I wear a hat now. I wear my headphones, going around Sainsbury's, eyes at the floor.
Yeah.
It sometimes backfires because I was there the other day and all their computers and tills went down. So I'm there with a massive shopping load, and there was this muffled announcement. And I took my headphones out and it said, like, the tills are still out of action. Nobody can be served for 45 minutes. And I'm there with like 60 quid's worth of food. So, but yeah, it's a lot of escapism. And I think we've talked on introductions to this podcast about mental health. And I think what I'd like to say on this is that if you're in a situation, and this isn't amateur psychology, this is just my thoughts. If you've been in a situation where you have a natural propensity for socialization and you're going to be facing a cold, wet winter, lockdown, surrounded by more and more negative news, I think my advice would be to try and find some way of keeping that socialization going almost as a forced habit, not to hide in watching the TV and going to bed early and putting your headphones on, to almost say, I'm going to create socialization. So whether it was doing something online where you interact with other people, I have a really big fear.
Checking in every day, just on a text.
Yeah.
Or have an agreement with someone that may need that. Rather than just bombarding someone who doesn't, I guess is my point.
Also, the whole thing about the emotional thing, and Christmas has been made into this, like, if we're not with our families this Christmas, then, life's over as we know it.
Yeah.
It's been set up as the most important holiday ever.
It's great. Yeah, we touched on the last one, didn't we? It is nuts. It
is
nuts.
But maybe that's
the pressure we build. We build it up to kind of take something away, or it's an odd kind of way of doing things, isn't it?
Yeah, we should be doing a lockdown because we think we have the scientific evidence that less people will die.
It's like saying every other day.
Yeah.
Don't get into the amount of days in the year. Right now, I just had a flashback, but
it's like ranking, isn't it?
Yeah. Why is the other days less important? It's crazy.
Also we're a multicultural society. When Eid was cancelled with about 3 hours' notice,
absolutely, it's not the only festivity, is it?
I think Lockdown 2 is going to be very much like the film Hangover 2. Not as good as Lockdown 1 and a lot dirtier.
Shall I move us on?
Yeah.
Lifting in lockdown. You got some top tips? Learnings from Lockdown 1?
Yeah. Let's go learnings from Lockdown 1. Let's just take a step back. Lockdown 1, firstly, it was in the spring and summer. And I know Amelia, who was on at 15, did Instagram lives 2 or 3 a week, free, really good quality, really well produced, got a lot of followers all around the world. She was getting emails from, I think it was New Zealand, someone said, like, this has made lockdown bearable. I'm just looking forward to it. Yeah. maybe that's the socialization of seeing, another living being in real time,
Yeah.
talking to you and laughing with you. Maybe that's the sort of socialization people could look at. So in lockdown 1, as I said, I set up a WhatsApp group. Not all my clients joined. I think some weren't even invited for particular reasons. I just felt for some people it was the right thing.
Right? Yeah.
As you know, got mixed reviews. Some people went, this is almost like a little bit too much for me. I don't need to know all this. Some people said, without this, it would have been a lot harder. My feeling around the second lockdown is it is going to go up a gear. And there's a whole number of factors. And one is, it's going to be the weather and the darkness.
Yeah.
Doing 100 days of 10,000 steps, we've got the same number of hours in the day. We haven't got the same ability to go out and do those steps. So then, what then becomes the option? So what I'm going to do, I've just shown you this today because I've written to all my clients, and I'm going to be offering an online training. And on lockdown 1, I was going, no, I don't mind if someone wants, a bit of advice, I'll give it to them, or they can go out for the walks, or I can give them, some press-up exercises.
Yeah.
What I've said in the note that's gone out to everybody is that I want them to continue to be consistent, continue to work out. And so what I'm going to suggest is that the hour they used to come to me is the hour I will do the Zoom call with them.
Yeah.
It won't be everybody join me at Friday at 5 o'clock. It'll be, you always put this hour aside. You never missed
That's
it.
kind of where I was, lockdown 1.
What, that you do it whenever?
No, that I do it.
Oh, you do it at that time.
It was really important that
Yeah.
I stuck to those hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was typing, I was thinking, well, no, give them a bit of flexibility. And it's like, no, they're stuck in their house.
I think that's the problem.
If they can do it when they're working,
Yeah.
and they're not able to work, then at 1 o'clock on a
Well, that was the kind of thing
Thursday.
our structure went.
Yeah.
Some people were really good at putting it in straight away, spreadsheets, and lots of people were like, no, almost going over what they would normally do. And then some people just kind of went with it.
Yeah, we discussed that with Brian, didn't we? Quite a lot. We did. The different people.
Yeah.
So what I'm offering, and this we keep saying like free offers to everyone as if we're going to sort of have a massive group. I think what I'm saying on this is I feel there might be some use in me explaining what I'm doing. And if there's people listening who aren't clients going, actually, yeah, I could piggyback on that, not necessarily being in touch with us, but could use the framework and go, right, I could do this with somebody else.
Yeah.
I could pick someone and say, let's have a Zoom call at 1 o'clock on Friday.
Yeah.
And we'll do these exercises together.
Yeah.
Or if we both got an exercise bike, let's talk sitting on our exercise bike, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
Or, and this isn't being all sort of middle class and you've got a garden and an exercise bike.
Yeah.
If you're on the 19th floor of a flat, there is still body weight exercises you can do.
Yeah.
And it might be more difficult if you've got kids around, but there's someone, a PT called, I think it's Jumpstart Fitness, who I really admire. She's doing a lot of work with disadvantaged groups in Bristol, a lot with Muslim women in tower blocks, and basically getting out and doing exercise with them.
Cool.
And they have a lot of cultural barriers and they have financial barriers, but she's doing some great work with them.
Great.
So it is possible for anyone to do it. So what I thought, very, very briefly, 2 minutes, I'll just give the outline of what I'm saying to my clients, and then maybe we can have a little bit of a conversation, or people can listen and go, yeah, that resonates with me. I can sort of see that might be a thing. If this, when you come and train with me, then that's the day we're having the Zoom call. So there's consistency.
Yeah.
The second thing is that the contact via WhatsApp or whatever it's going to be would be not constant. It'd be as much as the person needed, but it would be there as some form of interaction. Yeah. So if I can't see someone and have the introduction, if you come and go, my shoulder's hurting, so there has to be some sort of clarification as we go. So I can WhatsApp someone saying, how's the week been for you? Blah, blah, blah. And then the second bit will say, let's build on what we're going to do on our Zoom so that you have some sort of sense of continuity. Mm-hmm. And it would be the small steps. It would be, here's a 5-minute workout. I'm doing this with 2 women at the moment. I think I mentioned this a couple of podcasts ago, who want to do specific work on their triceps. And we've got a 5-minute tricep workout. Okay. And everyone can find 5 minutes. Yeah. And one of the bits of the accountability, which I did them with the other day, is saying, I'm seeing you tomorrow. That means you've got to do your 5 minutes today. Yeah. And it's 5 minutes. They can't come back and go, no, I haven't got time. Mm-hmm. And both of them came back and said, I don't know how well I did it, but I did it.
Yeah.
Communication is keeping the consistency, keeping the times, keeping that framework, keeping the accountability. And then the other bit was around community, was going, here's a group of people like-minded who I will train. We don't have to have a big group chat all the time, but if one of you's finding something that works, then let us know.
Share it, yeah.
If you found a free workout, if my daughter does them again, and I can say to everyone, you can watch this for half an hour. You won't get any better quality.
Yeah.
She puts the times out. You're going to get free training from a good PT.
Yeah.
Why would you not?
Yeah.
But it might be things like something around nutritional advice, or, the whole thing that I blag on about vitamin D. You can't get any vitamin D from the sun anymore, not until April or May.
Yeah.
So just a reminder that supplements, are important. And so I think it's that bit around support, that someone's actually speaking to you and taking an interest, and once a week you're going to see a familiar face.
Yeah, you kind of talked about how we do that on here, but I think we can, in a simple way, have one of our highlights on Instagram with a few.
Put the activities in.
Yeah, I can design them up, set them up.
Yeah, that would
we
be
put
good.
them in, we leave them in there, and they just build up, and everyone can just go in there, screenshot them, grab them, download whatever they want to do. So that could be quite cool, couldn't it?
Yeah,
but it's the 5 minute or a 10 minute, 20 minute.
We'll
try and cover, because I would use those. Yeah. And you gave me a 5 minute one for my arm, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's quite a mindset change, isn't it? I think if we don't either build on what happened last time and what we've been doing since lockdown, we're remembering what we didn't do, and you're right, feeling it.
114. This is great, isn't it? You go into podcast to hear somebody's heart getting
Surprised
worse.
We not hear it pounding through the microphone. All right?
Yeah, of course it is. Everything in the world, to a greater or lesser extent, has a degree of predictability. But everything in the world surprises us. We're seeing 24,000 cases a day and 300 people dying, and the rest of Europe's in lockdown. And when it's on the front of the newspapers, people are going, oh, shit, we're going to be locked down next week. The cases have been going up into 5 figures for weeks.
Yeah. 3 weeks plus, right?
The only reason it hasn't is because the Boris's economic imperative has stopped us. And this is what's been nagging me, is that if we knew in our heart of hearts there was going to be a lockdown, why aren't people 2 or 3 weeks ago actually, and I'm sure some people are, but why aren't people actually planning and saying, right, what am I going to do? And it isn't about getting toilet roll. But it might be things about, okay, let's do a bit of baking and stock up the freezer. Let's do working out that if I'm not able to go to my PT, why don't I just buy a couple of pairs of dumbbells and a mat?
Yeah, it's a good point. I was kind of wondering where we're kind of going with it, but yeah, of course, and I think it's what I said about we have to learn from last time, and we'd be daft to sit around and get complacent and not put things in place. We'd be stupid to do that.
Yeah.
Have you got any more pearls from the range, or did you blast them all in the last ep?
The first one isn't the range, but it was something I sent through to you, comparing 100 grams of raisins and 100 grams of grapes.
Oh, yeah.
And the calories in 100 grams of raisins, 330, 100 grams of fruit, 66, and 4 times as much sugar in raisins. So when we looked and saw those little glistening bits, dried fruit is...
a wolf in sheep's clothing, right?
It is. The second thing, I don't think, because of sensitivities, I can describe this fully, but what I'm going to do now for your reaction...
Would you like me to describe exactly what I see in front of me?
No, because we might get taken off air.
Oh, exciting.
So I'm going to show you something.
We have an explicit tag. Should we use it? Yeah, I don't think we've cashed that token yet, have we?
I don't know. You can judge. Right. Have a look at this photograph.
Okay.
There's my hand. I've only put my hand there for scale.
Okay.
So look closely at what's next to my hand.
It's
you can describe it without going into detail.
It's clearly a Christmas stocking.
Christmas stocking.
It's a see-through one.
Yeah. And it's got some images that you always associate with Christmas.
Some that I associate with Christmas.
Yeah.
Are you looking at the character at the bottom?
Yeah.
That I am as well?
Yeah. That's why I don't think we need to go into any other detail.
No, because I'm going to use the word.
Yeah, but you can't.
I can't use it.
No, because I'll punch you. So basically this has got an inappropriate...
How would you describe that in any other way other than calling it what it is? Where was that? From the range?
No, this was my Christmas stocking when I was a child. I put it...
Right. I was thinking there's someone selling now.
No. That was my childhood. Okay. The point I was making...
Can I say it's a character that once used to be on the side of a marmalade jar? Yeah. Can I say that?
Yeah. And it was on a
that
Christmas...
quite rightly got taken off the marmalade jar.
Yeah, and is now seen as something that you wouldn't have as a toy or have. The reason I'm showing you that was for 2 things. One is the Christmas stocking isn't much bigger than my hand. That's what life was like in that days. It was 2 Satsumas, and my mum used to give me shiny 2Ps.
Right.
not two shiny peas. She worked on a petit pois farm and used to nick 2 for Christmas. And yeah, the imagery is of a cracker, a teddy bear, a train, and then something that is not right.
That'll take some editing, but I might be able to do something with that.
It's just fitted. I'll let you read it. So I'll describe the thing. So it's basically a bottle opener stuck to a piece of wood, and underneath it, it's only relevant because we discussed this. So you can read it.
I make beer disappear. What's your superpower? Nice.
Going on from the invisibility.
Yeah.
This is someone who's able to drink liquids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your superpower? I can drink liquids too. It's good. I like that one.
Yeah. I have got an apology.
You've got a late apology. Apology just in.
I think I pronounced this word, which I said was word of the day. I think it's wrong. It should be
Behemoth.
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 Behemoth. No, I don't say that.
Behemoth.
Oh.
Behemoth.
It says behemoth. Behemoth.
What do we say? Or I say?
Behemoth.
Behemoth. There you go.
It's kind of in between, isn't it? Behemoth, behemoth.
The world's an interesting and ever changing,
Isn't it?
Oh, fuck. What's this?
You all right? Is that a label you've got in the back of your shirt?
Oh, shit, no.
What the... That's amazing.
It's part of an ECG machine stuck to my back.
The sensor sticker.
Oh, I got more. They didn't take them off.
Oh my God.
This is
NHS for you, not about detail, are they?
Just like. Oh,
that's good.
Yeah, there we go.
Any more? Have you got the ones on your nipples? Have you got rid of those?
Oh, look at this.
Because you're covered in them. I want to take a picture. I'm going to take a picture.
Let me get my abs.
And we haven't actually... Yeah, you're going to have to tense up so we can... I don't have to ask you to breathe in.
Oh, these have been left too. Look, God, they're really sticky.
They are really sticky, aren't they? They've left them all on.
Yeah.
You got one... Yeah.
I got 2 off my legs because I saw those when I was lying there.
I thought they get them off. Good to be not hairy. That would really hurt. Should I finish up the... This is riveting audio, isn't it?
There's a lot.
Listening to you peel off, there's one on your hip, on your side. Well, well done. You made it through recording session.
Yeah.
That's it for this episode. Well done for getting this far, and thanks for listening. All links and references will be in our show notes. Please make sure you subscribe to us by your favourite podcasting app. And if you are enjoying this pod, then please do spread the word. Tell a friend, family member, nemesis, whoever you feel would benefit from having us in their ears. Give us a follow on Instagram at I'mFinecast, and send us your feedback and questions via our email to imfinecast@gmail.com. In the next episode, we're going to go through the lifting in lockdown activities that we're going to put on Instagram.
The exercises that are going to be on highlights, we're going to give a walkthrough too.
I think it'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah. Bye all.